Welcome to The Basic Vet, the podcast with a beard, tattoos, and no fucks. It's politically incorrect, it's abrasive, it's unapologetic, and it's probably fucking funny. I'm your host, Shannon Smith. Here you'll find out what it's like being a vet on a day-to-day basis, the unspoken struggles you don't hear about, and some honest stories from my time in our beloved Marine Corps. So grab a beer and throw out all those fucks you've had in your pocket, because where we're going,
you don't need any fucks.
People, please. Oh my God, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for that standing ovation. I know it's been a long time coming, about 3 years in fact, but I'm back. The Basic Vet is back and getting into the swing of things very slowly. Slowly like a big fat elephant. That's in no way a shot at my own weight, but we'll get into that later. So you might be wondering why it's been 3 years since I decided to record. Well, it's pretty simple. I just lost motivation. And one of the reasons I lost motivation was just doing it by myself. You know, just sitting by myself in a bedroom, recording, talking to a wall, looking at meters go up and down on the computer screen. It gets very boring. And I kind of ran out of topics, and I felt like I was doing the same thing everybody else was doing. And I didn't want to be that guy. But now I realize that people were still listening to the podcast even after I had stopped recording. I just got an email the other day from, it's called Good Pods, and I guess I made it to the top 100 of one of their charts, and I haven't done shit in 3 years. So I figured, a couple people have told me, hey, what happened to your podcast? And I kept saying, I'm going to do it again. And I think I've been saying that for about 2 years now. And I finally just decided to hit the record button. So let's get into a couple other reasons why I just stopped recording and didn't get back in the chair and hit record. One was I couldn't find anyone to co-host with. So doing a solo is just really boring, but I'm going to figure out ways to keep that going. And a co-host can definitely make things a lot funnier, more interesting, and it'll keep me interested. But one of the problems is being able to find a good personality to go with mine, and that'll continue to make the podcast funny. And everybody I talked to, either they didn't have the time or they didn't have gear for it, or the personality just wasn't there. And I'm not saying that I'm just wonderful podcast personality, but, I'm going to want somebody I can be friendly with and talk to and carry on a good conversation with. And I did land on one person. One person, he was a very good friend of mine. We used to ride racetracks together and ride all over California, but he unfortunately is no longer with us. Shortly after that, we had made the decision to record together. He sadly passed away. So I am going to keep making this podcast happen no matter what, and it might turn into some new things. I'm not sure what those things are. Hopefully they're going to keep me interested. Well, one of the other things that I mentioned earlier about not, or why I had stopped recording, was my motivation was gone. And just doing it by myself kind of made it seem, boring, like I had mentioned before, but that slowly ate away at my motivation. And then I just got into other things like playing, video games, and I do sim racing now. And then I got into making some music, and I just kind of let podcasting fall to the wayside. But I don't want to keep that going. Podcasting was fun for me, and I want to get that feeling back of recording a nice little podcast, editing it, and then throwing it up on the internet for other people to hear. Plus, you guys listening to it and giving me feedback, that really, really helps. That's another reason why I kind of lost motivation, was when in something like this with podcasting solo, you don't really get a whole lot of feedback unless you're a big name, and then people are commenting and rating and all kinds of stuff. But I'm just not there yet, and I have to be patient and let it get to that point. And I think it will eventually. I just can't lose motivation again. And this takes time and it takes effort, which fortunately I have a lot of fucking time, tons of time. And I'm going to put the effort in more because I've been putting it elsewhere, and now I can focus more on this one podcasting effort. And with all that time and effort I was putting into it before, I didn't really get a return on my investment in my head because there's no instant feedback. It's not like a TikTok or a YouTube short or something where people are just commenting and flaming you the whole time. Hell, I don't even care if I'm getting flamed. At least there's some feedback there. And that's going to keep me going one way or another. But the other problem that I ran into was gear. I got into an editing wormhole first, and then I got into a gear wormhole. The editing wormhole, I just became so obsessed with how I sounded and how to make it sound better. And that isn't really conducive to putting your content out because you're wasting time. So instead of wasting time, I'm just going to record and then post it. And that should make it at least listenable, where people can listen to it and then eventually give feedback. Now, the gear wormhole is a different one entirely. The editing wormhole, I'm down. I don't give a shit about that. That is easy to fix. The gear wormhole, I ended up getting this Rodecaster Pro set up, and then I got two $400 microphones. And then the episode that I recorded with that new microphone was my last episode. That was when I quit. So it's almost like I got the gear that I needed, and I knew that I could record, and I knew that I could produce a podcast. And then I was like, cool, that's neat. I can do that. I don't need to do that anymore. Well, that's not where I want to stay at. I want to keep producing these podcasts because it is fun, and it provides that little hit of dopamine too when I'm finished with it. Some of the programs that I got into for editing, one was GarageBand, and that was the first one that I did. I used GarageBand, and I got into Ableton, which is actually what I'm using now. And I even used Audacity, which sucks. I hate that. And I even used the voice recorder on my phone for different things. I mean, there's so much out there that you can use to do a podcast. I really don't know why I just quit, or why more people don't start, as if the market's not flooded enough. But it takes me back to thinking about the very first piece of gear that I used. That was my little Zoom H4n Pro. And my wife was out at work, and I was sitting at home just bored all day. And I had this recorder that I bought back in California when I was going to start doing some motorcycle vlogging and stuff like that. I never even used it. And then one day I just picked it up and I started recording on that little shitty thing, and it seemed to work. Then I was able to post, and I kept driving forward, and it kind of motivated me to keep getting better and better because I had such, low quality equipment. So it's another reason why once I got all the good stuff, I was like, yeah, I don't really need to do this anymore. But how stupid is that? It's fucking dumb. I finally get the gear I need, and then I just decide, nah, fuck it. I'm not going to use it. How stupid. I have been known to be a fucking retard sometimes, though. I mean, don't take that the wrong way. I guess we have to be PC. Oh, wait. That's right. I don't. This is my podcast, and I don't give a fuck. So now what I'm recording on is my expensive gear that has been sitting collecting. It's still fucking dusty. Somehow I managed to not be able to get all the dust off of this shit. But I'm using it, and I haven't sneezed yet, so I guess it's clean enough. But I got all this gear sorted. I got it all plugged in. It took me for fucking ever to download the updates and all that stuff because it's been sitting for 3 years. I'm using it now, right? But where, moving forward is what I really want to focus on. This episode alone was a huge hurdle for me, just recording this by itself, because for some reason, the reasons that I've given clearly before, I just would not get up and I would not go make the fucking podcast. But I can't keep making excuses and keep doing that anymore. I've got to stop making excuses, and I've got to get my ass in this chair and write some shit down, babble some shit out, just hit the record button and get it done. The more I do that, the better I'll get at recording and editing. I'll get back in the saddle again, and then I'll be fine. As long as I can keep thinking that and keep pushing forward, I should be all right. So from here on out, I'm just going to take it day by day with podcasting. And I'm going to have a lot more focus on podcasting itself, on getting this done and minimizing those distractions around me. Like one of the biggest ones is just YouTube for me. I can get down a YouTube wormhole and come out of it fucking 3-4 hours later, and I've done nothing but sit there and watch fucking YouTube. Now, if people would stop making such good damn content, it would be a lot harder for me to get lost in it. But I get on one thing, and then, as you know, you see some fucking video about cats learning how to fly or some crazy shit, and then you're stuck on that. And then you're looking into Da Vinci and his designs and how they influenced modern day flight, all because of some cat that had wings on as a costume. It's just an example, but I'm sure it's out there. But I've got some other things I can talk about throughout the podcast. I'm going to come up with topics every single day, every time I podcast. But the stuff going on around me is one thing. As you guys all know, I hate Pennsylvania. I still fucking hate Pennsylvania. I'm still stuck in this shithole. And if you're from Pennsylvania, fuck you. I don't care. This place sucks. And you should know that. So minimizing my distractions is one thing. So I'm going to cut down on my YouTube usage unless it's specifically in relation to making a podcast. Other than that, fuck it. I'm not watching it. I'm going to try and keep my topics relevant for one thing and current. Things that are going on like weather. Right now, I'm just fucking kidding. I'm not talking about the goddamn weather, even though it is shitty and cold and snowy here. But that's fine. We'll get through it. The other things I have going on is playing games. I got into sim racing, another thing that I spent a shitload of money on, but I wasn't really doing. So I've got back into that. And I'm probably going to be posting on YouTube. So I'll be streaming some of those games on YouTube and making some YouTube shorts trying to be a young kid because I just turned 40 fucking years old. One of the worst things about Pennsylvania is their drivers. Traffic sucks here. The roads, they're terrible. And the rules, like the traffic signs and the things that they put up, they just don't make sense half the fucking time. Like this place has stop signs and yield signs at the end of entrance ramps to the highway. What the fuck kind of shit is that? Who just teach them how to zipper merge, or if you're a parent, teach your goddamn kid how to do it and then let them figure it out. They wonder why there's so many accidents and shit here that are unnecessary. Well, that's one of the reasons why. You do dumb shit like enabling retards to fucking run around and cause crashes on the road because they can't figure out how to do things the right way since they were never taught. Assholes. Not one single thing since I've been here in these 3 years that I haven't recorded has gotten better. So I'll always have that for content. There will always be some new dumbass thing that happened to keep me posting. Now, don't even get me started on driving in this state during rain or snow. I thought California was by far the worst state I was ever going to drive in anytime that it rained. And I don't think I had to deal with snow because I wasn't up north, but we'll just go rain in particular. Anytime it rained, everyone just forgot how to drive, and they thought that the rain was equivalent to ice. I don't know, because it's shiny or some shit when it's on the road. But everyone just slowed way down and drove like they were 95 years old with bad vision. Now, I thought that was it. I thought that was the worst of it. And then I got to Pennsylvania, and in Pennsylvania, it rains a lot in the winter, and it also snows. And you should be used to that if you grow up in this state. Now, every single person in this state can't be a transplant. So I'm blaming all the drivers here for being fucking idiots. When it rains in Pennsylvania, which, like I said, it does do a lot, people go way below the speed limit, even on regular side roads where it's like 35 miles an hour. And just the other day, they were driving down a hill after it had rained, and everyone slowed way down because I thought they were going to slide down the hill, apparently. Like your tires aren't made to get traction in the fucking rain. Idiots. Teach these people how to fucking drive, for fuck's sake. Takes me an hour to get home when it should take me like 20 minutes. Now, don't even, If it snows, just don't even drive. Just stay home. Order GoPuff, order food, order whatever you got to order. Make them fucking drive. Because God forbid you have to deal with people like that when you're out there. Snowing, just shut everything down. I can't even describe how bad it is when it snows here. In response to the snow and the last decent snow that we just had here, Pennsylvania PennDOT decided to lower the speed limits temporarily on the highways. Instead, of getting more fucking plow trucks out there and salting the roads and clearing them because, I don't know, apparently this is northern Canada where we've got 62 inches of snow at once. No, false. This is fucking Pennsylvania in a lower portion of the state where we barely get any snow, and it was about 4 fucking inches. Yet they couldn't seem to get their asses out of their heads out of their assholes and get more trucks out there and clear the roads. Their answer was to lower the fucking speed limits. Like motherfuckers aren't already doing 2.5 miles an hour on the highway when it's 70 to 75 miles an hour the speed limit. They're just making the problem worse. It's a state of enabling dumb shits to continue to be dumb shits. Hate this fucking state. I can't wait to leave. Actually, I'm probably going to be stuck here for the rest of my damn life. Yeah, well. Oh, I mean, here's a good one. Long time ago, I was taking my boss to Baltimore, which is another complete shithole of an area. I was taking him to Baltimore to catch a flight, and it had snowed the night before, and it was super, super cold. And they had hours to clear the roads. And I was coming up on a bridge, which I know overhead bridges, they can get icy. There's no insulation from the ground. So I slowed way down. I was in some old piece of junk van that was barely held together. So I slowed down to like 35 miles an hour on a 70 mile an hour highway. And as soon as I hit that bridge, the van kicked sideways and started sliding. Eventually I got it back under control. But right after I got over the bridge, there was an entrance ramp just past that where there was a flipped over van who didn't do so well. And luckily those people were okay. But about probably 600 feet past that was a depot where there was a bunch of fucking plow trucks and a huge bin of salt just waiting to be used. And nobody was there fucking using it. Are you kidding me? This is one of the things that actually makes me want to go back to Michigan where I grew up, which I never thought would happen because things were actually better there. This place is so stupid. And they're traffic lights. Traffic lights, most of them, I mean, you go in other states or more modern states, I guess, they have traffic lights where you roll up to them and they have sensors that, depending on the traffic, will switch them. So it's a lot more intuitive. But we have so many traffic lights here that are still programmed by humans. And mind you, the humans here are fucking dumb. So that's a product of that. So just the way the lights work in general on here is just, it's stupid. It makes no sense. Now, oh yeah, another problem is that they legalized weed. Not recreationally yet, but it's medicinal. And of course, a bunch of people are just getting it anyway and smoking it. But I've seen so many people just smoking a huge fat blunt while they're driving, or you'll be behind a car and it'll just reek like pot, like straight up skunk. And that can't be helping the problem at all. I know for one thing, when I get fucking high, I don't want to drive because I will drive just like everybody else around here at about 30 miles an hour below the speed limit, scared out of my life. No, if I'm going to smoke, I just sit my ass at home where I fucking belong, where I can't bother anybody else. That'd be wonderful if people would just maybe take a little bit of advice and not go out and drive after they've smoked weed or drank alcohol, which is another huge problem here. We got drunk drivers all over the fucking place. Every single time I go out in the car, every single time, at least once, somebody crosses over into my lane and almost hits me. I'm not even joking about that. It's every single time. All right, that's enough bitching and complaining. If I get into people that drive in the left lane on the highway, I'm just going to have an aneurysm. So I would implore those people, if you're listening and you're from Pennsylvania, first off, fuck you. Second off, get better at driving. That should be one of your New Year's resolutions, is to get better at driving. Please. And speaking of New Year's resolutions, I have a couple. I'm just kidding. I don't have any fucking New Year's resolutions. I actually started switching my life around. It was December 5th, actually. I got on a new diet because I was becoming a goddamn heifer. And I quit severe, like big time cut back on drinking. So I barely drink now. It's maybe on the weekends, definitely during a football game, which thank God Sunday's coming up because go Lions. I can't believe how far they've gotten. This is an amazing fucking season for them. I cannot wait I can't wait to walk into Dave & Buster's on Sunday in my Lions jersey and just walk around in front of all those people in Dave & Buster's that are angry about the Eagles not being there to play Tampa Bay. Fuck you, suck my asshole. I don't give a shit. Your team sucks. The fans suck too. Like, how many fans have just turned on the Eagles for dropping out of the playoffs? I've seen so many of them that just straight up turn on them. People wearing paper bags over their head because they blew their chances. Are you fucking kidding me? Come to me when you have an 0-16 season. Then you can talk about putting a goddamn paper bag on your head because you're angry at your team. And even then, the fans don't turn on the fucking team in Detroit. They're just upset and they wish their team would do better. That's it. Fucking get out of here with that shit. Ugh. All right, so from here on out, I'm going to try and record a whole lot more. If I could record every day, that would be awesome, but I don't think that's going to happen. And I'm not going to try and force myself to do that because I might burn out or something. But I'll do what I can, and eventually I'm going to get a video element to this, and my topics and flow will get a lot better. But until then, thanks for stopping by and listening to this, and I'm glad to be back, and I hope you're glad to be back listening to it too.
To everyone that listened to this podcast, thank you. Thank you for taking that time out of your day to listen to me bitch, babble, and complain. I really appreciate it. And all of my active duty friends out there, I want to say thank you for signing on that dotted line so that I can continue to enjoy my freedom and be a lazy fucker that just records his voice into a microphone all day and put it on the internet. And to those of you that say, just let it go, I say, fuck you. I'm never letting go of my commitment to excellence. And don't you let it go either. I'm out.